Hello, welcome to the second week of our speech class. One of our topics was to give a speech, an impromptu speech. We had a number of things that we could choose from, and I chose how to plan a party. So that's what I'm going to be talking about for most of the time. There's a number of things that go within planning a party. So one of them is that you need to figure out what kind of party that you're planning for. Whether it's a graduation party, a wedding, a birthday party, a holiday party, like Halloween, Christmas, I don't know, anything, Hanukkah. So I thought it would be best to actually give you an example of planning a specific type of party. When I graduated from college with my undergrad, the plan was to become an event planner and to, more specifically, to plan weddings. But that obviously didn't happen. But I'm going to run you through the steps of how to plan for a wedding. I know this topic doesn't relate to most boys, which sounds silly, but most boys don't dream of their big day. They don't dream about the wedding. So I guess this is more of a target towards women. However, that small percentage of males that are interested in planning a wedding, here's a few procedures or things to think about when doing so. The most important part is you need to have a wedding date. And the reason why for that is because finding a venue, depending on your location, it can be incredibly taxing and hard to find. That goes with finding a pastor or an officiant or a friend who is basically an officiant, because you can go online and get your certification and approval to say that, hey, these two are wed. So again, finding a wedding date. The next step would be to find a location. But while you're finding the location, I know this seems silly, but you need to think about the theme of what you want to do. So specifically for a wedding, let's take, for example, we're in the Pacific Northwest. So most people would think, okay, I want a Pacific Northwest. Do I want it outside or inside? That's another thing to think about. Most people will have their ceremony in a church, and then they'll do the reception somewhere else. Or, I guess, not most people, the trend has been changing. So the trend now is to have your ceremony and your reception all in the same location. A lot of the times is because you can get better deals and better packages for doing so. So if you do, let's say, for example, when I got married at my parents' property, and that saved a lot of money, which is a huge factor, which goes into our next point, that you need to set up a budget. You need to figure out a budget on what is going to be feasible for you or for your family or for your significant other or partner. So once you figure out your budget and you figure out the date, you choose a location, and then within that location, you decide inside or outside. For me, for example, I chose outside at my parents' house, so I didn't have to pay anything for a venue because it was free. So that helped out with the cost portion. And then from that point, my last name is Wood, and so we kind of went with what we like to do, hiking and fishing and being outdoors and being in the Pacific Northwest. So I chose a theme, right? And then you have to figure out within that theme, is there any cultural boundaries that you want to present in there? Is there anything that you want to have that's significant to you? Those are really silly things, but they have a whole effect on the party planning bigger scheme. So with that, choosing an outdoor venue, and then we had to figure out a pastor. So finding a pastor, it depends on your religious belief. So let's talk about that. There's so many different views. You could be non-religious and you just get an officiant that says, according to the state of Washington, this person can legally bound us together. Or you could do any type of religious denomination, whether it's Jewish or Catholic or Christian or Muslim, whatever it is. You have to find the pastor or officiant that is appropriate for that type of religion or non-religion. And then after that, it's always a good idea to see if you need an event coordinator. And an event coordinator is somebody that helps you with the day of types of things or helping within the planning process. So I guess there's two different situations there. An event coordinator who can help you with the planning process. They usually have good connections on venues, the florists and the caterers and all that kind of stuff, and they can work out deals for you. And then If you don't want that because you're more intent on planning for yourself, you can get an event coordinator for the day of. And that person is a person that helps you with setting up and making sure that the day is going smoothly. This person really helps you to stay on task and stay organized, because weddings can get crazy. People could have lots to say here and lots to say there, and it just gets kind of crazy. So an event coordinator is somebody that helps you to make sure you really enjoy your day and have fun. If you choose that you want one of those, that's your next step. And then to backtrack a little and talk about the theme, there's a lot that goes on within the theme. You need to figure out your flowers and outfit, decorations, cake, food, all those little things like having the caterer, whether you want servers or not servers. So that all ends around your theme. So with those, you can decide what types of flowers, what kind of flowers they are. Are they going to match with the outfits? Are the decorations going to go well with the flowers and the venue? All of these things tie into one another. And then the best part is the food and drink. So that's the most important part of why people come. Okay, I lied. It's not the most important part. But people come for obviously the celebration and everything. But a lot of people want food and drink. In order to have a successful party, you need music and food and drink. And then the rest will kind of fit into place. So, after you figure out your food and drink, and you figure out if you're going to use a caterer or not use a caterer. For example, we didn't use a caterer. We had a whole bunch of family friends. We did a lot of family style. So we had a lot of family and friends, and we all made dinner, and we had a big basic picnic at my parents' house. It was amazing. So those are the types of things, because with those things, like with my wedding, it wasn't as formal, which is another thing that comes in with the theme. So you need to figure out whether or not you want it to be formal or not formal, or semi-formal or casual or what have you. So those are that's another thing to think about. And then after that, and you have all that in place, it's time to party. So that's the deal or gist of how to plan a party. You need to figure out what type of party you're planning. What's the date? What's the location? Are you having a coordinator, not a coordinator? Are you going to have an officiant, a pastor? Is there going to be a theme? Are you going to have caterers, not caterers? Are you going to have decorations or not? There's lots of different things. What kind of outfits? What kind of attire? Is it going to be formal, semi-formal? These are all things that go into planning a wedding or planning a party within itself. All right. Thank you.